Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan and welcome to the latest episode of our entertainment show. As you know, we've been previewing live on air for the last couple of weeks about new TV series, new movies that are debuting and dropping in Ireland for the upcoming month of December, the final month of the calendar year. And one key TV series that caught our eye is a true drama series based on the tragic events of 2006 when a prominent, outspoken campaigner against the Kremlin, Alexander Litvinenko, lost his life in terms of tragic circumstances, in terms of a poisoning sort of incident by a chemical that obviously got into his nervous system that led to his death. And roughly 12 years on now, the story is coming to our TV screens here in Ireland and ITV, and obviously it portrays the central aspects surrounding the lead up to his death, the lead up to his poisoning, the demise, and obviously the story of Scotland Yard trying to put all the jigsaws, put all the pieces together, the campaigning to try and bring the persons to justice. And my guest this evening played a key part, a key role during this TV series. She plays the most outspoken, prominent woman, the wife of Alexander Litvinenko himself, Marina Litvinenko, the one and only actress Margarita Levieva. Margarita, first of all, Marina Litvinenko, and obviously an outspoken woman for the last 10 or 12 years to try and bring the awful circumstances that led to her husband's death, to bring those perpetrators to justice. Obviously, it was going to be always a key central role within this four-part series, obviously, to portray her, to portray all the aspects around her. Was it a hard audition in terms of getting cast for the role? Were you sought out for that role? And was one of those stories that you felt, this empowering, powerful woman, that you felt that this is a role that you really, really wanted to get to try and tell her story and bring it to the TV viewing audiences and all in the TV screens all across the world, because this is going out in over 80 countries.
Yeah, I thought it was 120, but I'll take
120, okay.
That's still a lot. 8 is a lot. I will take that. The way the audition came about, I was actually shooting a TV show in Spain at the time, In From the Cold, and my English agent called and said, I have this audition. It sounds really interesting. We don't have much information other than David. No, he didn't even know about David Tennant. He just said it's the part of Marina Litvinenko. And I was like, wow, that's really fascinating. And unfortunately, I was shooting so much, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. And when I Googled Marina and watched some of her interviews, I thought, gosh, I really would need a lot of time to get into her character. She's such an incredible woman, and just so she has such a specific way about her. And I thought I would need a lot of time to prepare. And I actually said to my agent, you know, if I don't know if it's worthwhile doing it, because unless I do a great job, I don't really want to even send anything in. And I didn't have a lot of time. And one of my friends that I was speaking to, like over the weekend, I was like, I'm just feeling a lot of feelings. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But she was like, just turn your camera on and let's just read the Litvinenko scenes. And I was like, wait, I'm not ready. I haven't done all this work. I usually do a lot of preparation. And she was like, let's just read the scenes. And I started reading them while taping it, and something that was other than me just came through. And this character that I thought I would spend so much time preparing for, which happened later in the future when I got the part, but something about the connection to the story and the emotional life of it just really was alive in me in a way that I didn't anticipate. And after I had read the scenes, that's when I knew that I had something to really bring to this part specifically. And that's when I really started to want it, because I think before then I thought it felt like so far out there, and like I didn't even imagine myself getting it, because as I said, after having watched a lot of Marina, I wasn't sure that I was quite like her. And but once I saw my emotional connection to it, I was like, okay, like I have a real shot at this. And then after that audition, I got a call back to read for Jim Smith, our director, and the creators and the producers. And that was also over Zoom because I was in Spain. But they told me that by that point, they had already known that I was their Marina, but they just wanted to have more of like a face-to-face. And just to get to know me a little bit and to talk about the material. But it's, yeah, Marina has really big shoes to fill. So it was a big one. And it was also a big one getting ready for it. I was definitely terrified.
And obviously, when you got sort of cast in the role, then were you made aware then that David Tennant was going to be played Alexander Litvinenko? And before he obviously came on the screen to sort of shoot and begin the sort of shooting process, did you make contact with David? Did David make contact with you in terms of sounding out how you were going to bring this puzzle, bring this jigsaws in terms of what went on to life?
The great part of it was that, no, we actually didn't meet before. I'd known that he was coming on. He was one of the producers, actually. He is one of the producers. And one of the most beautiful gifts that our director, Jim, had given us, he said, I'm going to step out of the way. I trust you in these roles. There's a reason I cast you, and I'm going to shoot it like a documentary. We're going to set the perfect space to make it feel as real as possible. And I just want you guys to come in and really inhabit the space and really live out the story. So I didn't see David until the day that we were shooting in the hospital, and part of that was kind of wonderful because I feel like if we had met before, we would have met, like, at least for me, like, as Margarita and David, and I just got to meet him as Sasha on set, and I'm not someone that like necessarily has to work as a method actor, but on this production, I did stay in character for most of it because that was the only way that I could really keep the accent and the character going. So I really met him as Marina, and Jim just, and our whole team just provided such a safe, creative space that it really, I mean, especially the hospital, just really felt like being there.
Okay. And Margarita, I know from my research that David Tennant actually went to meet Marina Litvinenko in person to try and find out as much as she could portray about Alexander in terms of his character, to sort of bring justice to what type of a man and person he was. Did you obviously accompany David on that trip to find out about Marina herself, or in terms of how you could sort of bring justice?
No, yeah, I had my own meetings with her, and I'm fortunate enough to say that we've become friends. I love Marina. I mean, she's just an unbelievable human being. And yeah, I spent a bunch of time with her. We met originally when I first got cast over Zoom because I was in New York by that point. And then as soon as I got to London for shooting, the first thing I did was meet Marina in person. And then we had spent some time together over the time that I was shooting. And I recently saw her again because we just did press. And then we're going to go see David's play in a few weeks together. So, yeah.
Wow. And I suppose in terms of meeting that woman and obviously what she went through, obviously, was there an awful sense of emotion meeting her for the first time? Was a lot of tears shed in terms of bringing that to life? I imagine when you play a true life story and then you get to see the true life person, does an empowering emotion come over you in terms, do you almost feel her pain and her life?
Of course, I was very emotional when I saw her, especially in person. And it was one of those things where I feel like I had to keep the emotion back because I was trying to be respectful. And it's like, her grief is so much bigger than anything I could take on because it's not mine. So I was just trying to be respectful in that way, in a way that when you go to people's funerals, sometimes it's like the family gets to grieve in a different way. So yeah, I was emotional, but not showing it as much.
And I suppose, Margarita, I spoke to Radislav in terms of played Andrei Lugova, and he taught me about the filming on London in terms of where it was shot. And he told me about the Russian scenes, that they found the most Russian part of Watford that you could ever find in terms of London. It was sort of difficult enough. What was their sort of filming like for you? And obviously in terms of that sort of series, and was it you, obviously, because you're portraying London, you're portraying Russia, you're portraying all these sort of different aspects within one sort of city. Did you almost feel the hustle and bustle the rapid sort of firing out sort of 4 episodes, and in terms of having that sort of uniqueness and bringing a whole global effect, because you're portraying two powerful countries within sort of maybe 100 kilometers of each other in terms of locations.
Yeah, I was quite lucky that all of my stuff took place in London, and for the most of it, we were able to get places to shoot in where actual events took place. So we shot at the Highgate Cemetery, and we shot at a hospital, and some of the streets and some of the buildings that we went to were part of the actual story. So I feel like London and the set really played a part in the series. And we also shot all 4 episodes at the same time. So there were days when we'd be like they cross-bordered it. So there would be days when on one day we'd be shooting a scene from episode 1 and episode 4 and episode 3. So it was definitely it was a lot, but it also added to the, I feel like, to the reality of the events that took place, because there was just so much happening all at once, all the time.
And Margarita, in terms of other prominent characters, obviously the whole Scotland Yard effect, Mark Bonnar, who played Clive Timmins, Neil Meskel, who played Brent Hines. I mentioned this to Radcliffe. It was always important that that story and that side of the story would be as powerful as obviously the tragic demise and that sort of thing. To always feel that the Law and Order to depict what obviously was a monumental case in terms of what they had to deal with, of course, probably in their sort of lives and sort of their careers, and obviously trying to trace something that not only boundaries of countries, you're talking thousands of kilometers, you're talking continents here, to try and put all this jigsaw together.
Yeah, I mean, the detectives were extraordinary, and the fact that Brent Hyatt stayed on the case all those years, even after the investigation was over, even after they were hitting dead ends over and over again as far as trying to get a verdict and trying to even have a trial. And the countless hours that they had put in just speaks volumes to their professionalism, but also their emotional involvement in the case. And when Brent Hyatt promised Sasha Litvinenko that he would get justice for him and his family, he really meant it, and he did everything he could to get it, which, you know, eventually they did. And
Margarita, just 1 or 2 questions now before I let you go. Obviously, Margarita, you've worked all across the world. You've worked a good lot in Europe as well. Have you ever done their shows here in Ireland in terms of performance, or have you ever been on recreational purposes in terms of visiting? And is it something in the near future that's on your bucket list, maybe to portray an Irish story, an Irish side?
I would love to. I'm sorry to say that I still have not made it over to Ireland. I have many friends from there, and it's looks like a beautiful, stunning place. So I really want to go, and I would love to work there, for sure. So I hope sometime in the near future, Ireland will call my name.
And Margarita Levieva, is it a busy time for you now, the remainder of heading into the new year in 2023? Have you other projects in the pipeline, TV series, TV shows that are going to be debuting here on our TV screens in Ireland and the UK that you're excited about?
I hope so. Yeah, I'm in London right now as we speak. I'm about to start shooting on the new Star Wars series.
Okay, wow.
And then I have another project I get back to in New York at the end of February, which hasn't been announced yet. So that will be a fun one. And I'm sure you'll see both of them in Ireland.
Yes. And Margarita Levieva, before I finally let you go, you might enlighten all our listeners why they should, here in Ireland, why they should tune in en masse on December the 15th to watch Litvinenko, and what's in store for them when they turn on the TV screens, when they see opening episode 1. Is it drama, love, loss, life, action, tense? Is it so many genres thrown into
I mean,
4 episodes?
Yeah, I mean, it's wild, but I guess real life encompasses so many different genres because it's a real story, and yet, yes, it's a drama, it's a thriller, it's a suspense thriller because you are following this case, and it feels very I mean, it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying and really unbelievable at times, shocking. And at the bottom of it, it's a love story. I mean, it's a love story between two people, Marina and Sasha, and what his death did to their family, and what she has done since his murder for the last 15 years, which is unbelievable. What this woman has gone through in pursuit of justice. And it's also a historical drama, so it speaks volumes to the Russian regime and who Vladimir Putin is, and it's extremely relevant with the things that are happening today over there and
Yeah.
over here as well. Yeah.
On that note, Margarita Levieva, thanks for joining us this evening to share your experiences playing the prominent role, one of the key roles alongside David Tennant, playing the wife of Alexander Litvinenko in Litvinenko, which is debuting on our TV screens on December the 15th on channel ITV here in Ireland. Margarita, a pleasure talking to you today. Hopefully you do get to dawn our shores here in Ireland in the near future. Ireland eyes are certainly smiling on you at the moment, and we wish you the well. Take care, stay safe, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.